Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a shockingly low energy version of the 6 round post fight show. At least for me, Eddie. I don't know. Maybe you're effusive and bubbling over with vibrant energy.
Yeah, nah, I'm East Coast time, so this is prime for me. I wish they were all like this.
Yeah, no. I look, I love morning MMA. It's my favorite thing. It's the reason I got up at 6 a.m. to watch this card. I always want MMA to be like this, but I am also just absolutely drained at this point. So I will do my best. I don't know if we'll be coming at you with any bonus content today. Might just be the show because I don't think I have time for all that. I'll be going to bed right after this.
Zane needs a nap.
He does, and if you knew me, you people who know me know I never take naps at all.
Oh, I live off of naps. 20-minute power naps, it's a must.
I take like 3 naps a year.
Damn.
I've never in my life have I been a napper.
No, I swear by him.
All
Once I
right.
discovered the power nap, it was a game changer.
Fair enough.
It's like having 2 days in one.
So we're here talking about UFC Riyadh, just wrapped up in Saudi Arabia, where Nasruddin Imavov came out and knocked Israel Adesanya cold. Well, I'll say knocked him down, put him away. It was a good stoppage. I know Adesanya had a moment of protest there, but
No protest.
no protest. It wasn't out, but he was done. Which, rough day for Izzy because he was doing pretty good. He had a good first round.
Oh, I'm Eddie Mercado.
Yeah.
Forgot to get that in.
My co-host Eddie Mercado. There you go. I'm just skipping it now because
Because you're sleepy.
I'm sleepy.
Sleepy Zane.
I am. But this was Izzy looked good. He looked like he was in shape. He looked like he was ready. And credit to Imavov for not just, I think the big key for him in this fight was he had to stay aggressive. He had to keep pressuring Adesanya, stay on him. We've seen Adesanya lose to Strickland, where Strickland just stayed on the front foot and stayed in his face. And Adesanya's never been a great fighter on his back foot, and maybe now he's losing a half step, and that
I think it's more than a half step. I picked Imavov here.
No, yeah.
So if anyone wants my picks, I post them to my Instagram story.
There you go.
But yeah, just the lead up to this fight, Adesanya seemed so sad. Like he seemed limp coming in, like he was lethargic and wasn't excited to be there. Although
he's such an emo kid, so it's a little hard to tell with him.
But like when usually in the build-up, he's got a fire.
Yeah.
He didn't have any fire, but he showed up in the first round on fire.
He looked great. Looked prepared.
He looked fantastic. What I liked out of Imavov was his willingness to wrestle and mix things up.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew where he wanted to be. He knew not to get stuck at range because that's where Izzy thrives. So credit to him for, mixing things up and closing the distance and pressuring, basically, which is the blueprint on beating Izzy.
And I think, too, it might, because people were like, oh, what's Izzy doing there? Did he just have a bad read? What was going on? He had both his hands out. And I have a couple of theories. One was that the shooting that Imavov was doing actually had Izzy thinking that off the body jab that Imavov threw, the next thing that was going to come in was a shot, was the double leg, and so he was getting his hands out to post. And the other idea was that he also just knows that he doesn't want to be on the back foot and against the fence, and he was trying to shove off and create that space and stop himself from getting backed up so much and getting pressured. But either way, Imavov, he entered in off that jab, and Izzy overreacted pretty bad to it, and That's all it took.
Nasty overhand from Imavov.
Yeah.
Full commitment. And that follow-up uppercut, holy shit. They could have stopped it right then and there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that would have been like great stoppage.
Yeah, no. They let a couple of shots go, and that was it. That was fine. Good, fair stoppage. And, rough days for Adesanya. That's 3 straight losses now. And, I mean, he's going to have to, after a loss like this, he's going to have to ask himself how badly does he want to start getting into Chris Weidman territory,
Well, that's a little extreme, but
But I mean, you start he's no longer. This fight was he wins here, and any kind of mix, he could be back in the title picture.
Sure.
Now he's a guy who's lost 3 straight fights, and he's going to have to go out and win 2 or 3 or 4 fights to be in the title picture.
Maybe he's still a superstar, so it really, one beef can put him in a title shot.
One beef could put him there.
But no, I think he definitely needs to step down in competition.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I wouldn't be shocked if he thought about retiring after this.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the back of my mind that maybe he's going to lay down the gloves because he's always been a reflexive-based fighter. Phenomenal technique, don't get me wrong, but he absolutely leans into his ability, his fast twitch ability to skirt out of the way and use his head movement and avoid and be elusive in unorthodox ways in which we're all told not to do in an orthodox striking class. Like, you don't do these things. And it's kind of like it's catching up to him at this point.
He gets his feet together. He gets tall when he's moving backwards. And that's all a bad idea. But when you're really fast, you can skate away. And now when you're losing a step, suddenly that's why. There's reasons that you're not supposed to do it like that.
Yeah. It sucks. That's, again, one of the worst parts of the sport is watching all your favorites end up, getting shit kicked and go on these crazy slumps, and like you were alluding to, the Chris Weidman territory. But I can't see
as somebody was noting, Weidman for a while, he looked good early in his decline against like Rockhold and Romero and Jacare and Musasi. It kept being like, oh, no, he's doing all right in these fights. It's still, there's something there. It's just then the losses keep racking up, and then suddenly, you're losing. You're eye-poking your way out of a loss to Bruno Silva.
Hey, that was a nasty eye-poke TKO, okay?
Yeah.
That was one for the ages.
So,
sucks for Adesanya, as a fan of Adesanya. Like, it's rough to see, but I mean, if you didn't see this coming, you probably should have.
Time waits for no man, and when you are a elusive counter fighter, especially, you are putting yourself in, position where your game can get pretty raggedy in a hurry.
And especially when you struggle with pressure and fighting off your back foot. Like, that's a huge deal in a sport where pressure is becoming king.
It is.
You gotta, and as you're aging, it's even more challenging to skirt away or circle out or whatever the case, especially when your MO for so many years has been to lean back, like you were saying. Like, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Let's see. I feel like I got the perfect matchup for him.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I want to hear this.
Shara Bullet.
Oh, my God.
Magomedov's been calling for it. He just lost. It's a stylistic matchup where no one's going to be shooting takedowns. Well, Izzy might go for takedown.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the perfect matchup. Both of them have names. It would be exciting.
I would rather at that point see Adesanya versus MVP.
Well, MVP's going back to 170.
I know. But I really like the way MVP looks at middleweight. His game is styled to be a middleweight game. It's all funk and no, there's no wrestling. There's no...
He was shooting takedowns tonight or today. I don't know. I think the Shara fight would be a lot more fun.
Fair enough.
But I guess I'm not against MVP.
Yeah. I just, if he does lose to Shara then he has to retire.
Yeah.
Whereas
Sure.
if he loses to MVP, then it's like, oh no, we had fun and this can be a
No.
mutual respect
If he
thing.
loses to MVP, that's 4 in a row. You need to retire.
Yeah, but if he loses to Shara that's 4 in a row, and it's you're losing to the punks now.
I guess it's a better litmus test against Shara. Like, are you really done?
Exactly.
Or has it just been your level of opposition has just been so high?
Yeah. So, in that sense, sure. As I'm not going to say roast beef daddy. I'm just not. I'm sorry.
No. See, I don't want to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lindsay,
he's cool. As long as we don't get that, I agree. I'm agreeing with that. With that too.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him against Roman Dolidze.
Maybe like a Michel Pereira. That'd be fun.
I don't want to see him against Marvin Vettori again. Yeah, you could do Michel Pereira. You could do Shara Bullet.
That's about it, honestly.
Yeah. Somebody asking, do we think that Izzy would change his game around his waning speed? I think he already has tried. I think the DDP fight and this fight, we saw him go back to fighting behind his jab and using his jab in front of his counters the way he used to when he was younger. And that is better fighting. He looked better in both these fights, but I don't think that there's you're not going to change the footwork part, the problems with moving backward. That's just not going to change. That's
right.
If that was going to change as part of your game, that would have changed 15 years ago.
Right. It's a natural response.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough time, you know, he's too ingrained in his ways.
Yeah. So, yeah. Otherwise, as for Imavov, yes, this win, it definitely puts him right in the title conversation. I guess you could say he has to be the top guy for the spot after beating Adesanya.
Should be.
But yeah, that's the other thing is that
you can't leapfrog Khamzat.
Khamzat's out there, and really too. Yeah, without if you could go get a win over Whitaker or Chimaev, I think that one more top contender fight would be the way to go. But yeah, I would say this: Imavov is one fight cancellation away from a title shot.
Sure, I can see him being an alternate.
Yeah. Being an alternate, or let's say that Strickland beats Duplessis or something, and they're like, okay, we're going to do Chimaev Strickland, and Chimaev gets hurt.
They would do DDP and Strickland 3. That would be
whatever. Let's say Drikas is injured, and they're like, okay, we're going to do Strickland Chimaev, and Chimaev gets injured, then it's Imavov. He's in a position where if the right pieces fall into place, he's clearly put himself in position to fight for them.
Or if he's willing to wait.
Yeah, that could just be it too.
Yeah, I could see him waiting it out.
You just sit for a year. Nobody wants to be Jacare Souza again.
Right.
Nobody wants to be sitting there at age 40 saying, oh man, 3 years ago I had the title shot and I elected to take another fight instead of fight for that belt. And that's now my one regret in my whole career is that I didn't just sit on the shelf and wait.
Yeah.
So if you're Imavov, this might just be the point where you just say, you know what? I don't need to fight for the next year. I'll just hang out. And if a title shot opportunity comes up, great. And if it doesn't, then I can take another fight in a year. But
yeah, he's in a good spot.
He is.
And honestly, that Jared Cannonier win, I didn't really agree with the stoppage. But I think he kind of put all that to rest with this performance. Mm-hmm. He's clearly a top 3 top 4 kind of guy. Like, he is that dude.
Yeah, I mean, even if you think Adesanya's fallen off, this clearly is a win that, it puts Imavov in that title conversation. There's no other way about it. He's won 4 fights in a row. And yeah, it's a good one. Somebody else suggesting the potential for a Caio Bahaio number 1 contender fight. I think Bahaio is also in a position where he's on to a hell of a win streak. That's the big vote in Bahaio's favor. But he is really lacking the signature win that would make him a contender. Like, he much more than Imavov, he needs a top contender fight to be fighting for a ball. I don't really see a situation where enough people could get injured that the UFC would call Caio Bahaio for a title fight.
Yeah. No, he would have to. I mean, they could fight each other. Imavov and him. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk co-main event. Michael Paige, Shara Bullet. And if Michael Paige was going to win, this was the best way that could go. This is honestly the most interesting and fun that a MVP win has been in, since
Bellator?
Yeah. Since Goiti Yamauchi.
Oh, he exploded his patella.
Yeah. Or really, it's the most fun that an MVP win has been since like Shincho and Zai in 2019.
So I race sailboats, right?
Yes.
And the bulk of my competition are retired admirals and Navy SEALs and from the military cloth. So we're the pirate boat, right? So Shara Bullet, he's the pirate. Like, I vibe with him. You know what I mean? Like, that's my kind of guy. And I like that someone one-dimensional is in the top 15. I also enjoy that. Like, hell yeah, that's what's up. It's freak show. I like that he has one eye and he can only fight in areas where they'll sanction it.
Yeah.
But I picked against him here. I picked MVP because this is a horrible stylistic matchup.
I was very split. I thought that Shara I thought he could kick Paige's legs enough to skate out with a win. But I did that. I made that pick thinking full well, like, this is actually a really good matchup for Paige.
Well, like, I just didn't think he was going to be able to spam combinations like he does everyone else. Like, you don't do that against MVP. He's too crafty, too technical, has that reflexive style. And, with MVP moving up in weight for this, I really expected him to have a speed advantage. And, like, he did. Like, he was still fast enough being the older guy out there.
Yep.
And, I mean, he really...
Yeah,
this was fight. Like a levels to the shit, because everyone, like, say what you want about Petrosian, but like, he's not the most technical striker. Like, he might come out and like he's got some pretty stuff.
Petrosian's also a really low power striker. Like, you look at how much damage Petrosian does for the amount of volume he puts out, and it's not very fearsome. Like, he went in his fight with Shara Bullet, and he actually, like, he had some great success early on. He even hurt Shara a bit.
Sure.
But he started walking into shots that were hurting him, and that was a power dynamic that he was like, I'm not going to be on the right end of this.
Yeah.
And with Paige, that was completely reversed. It was all fight. It was Shara being like, I have to go forward with you because this is no fun. Like, I am on the wrong end of all of these exchanges.
MVP's a sniper.
He is.
Like, and he's excellent at keeping people at range.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't see any world where Magomedov was going to be able to get his offense off.
Yeah, I thought he might kick more, and because he did well getting Paige backed up to the fence over and over. But I think one of the things that this fight really exposed that has been it's been a regular problem for Shara in his career, but it got badly exposed here, is that he does not have good kickboxing footwork, especially not going forward. He is not a good cage cutter. He does not do a good job staying light on his feet when he has to pursue. He tends to just sort of plod. And his boxing defense has always been miserable. He does not have defensive reactions as a striker. And
yeah, and you couple that with the fact that he's one-dimensional, like I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, bud, just a bad matchup.
yeah,
And MVP should be ranked at 185 now.
he should be. He should be. I think he should stay there. I know he's going to go back to welterweight and all that, but middleweight is the land of weird one-dimensional dudes who only have to fight guys that will only do the one thing they're already good at with them. You know, it's a division where Shara Bullet can run to the top 15, and like where MVP could turn around and you could match him up with Marvin Vettori tomorrow. And are you telling me that he's going to lose to Marvin Vettori?
No, I think he would frustrate Marvin Vettori.
Exactly. You know, middleweight it's that division for those guys. I know he'd be a little reedy and could get, bossed around by the right big guy, but
he's also kind of low in the power. Like, he has explosive moments.
He's very dynamic and fast, but he is, that is more the surefire sign of Michael Page's age than anything, is that for a dude who used to knock everybody out, he isn't really knocking anybody out.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like he was can crushing. He got to step up in competition, causing just devastating damage, right? Like what he did to Cyborg, caved his skull in, Goity's knee exploding, just ridiculous stuff. And now this is the oldest I've ever seen him look. Well, obviously, right? But he did seem aged, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was still enough.
It was enough. And it's, a learning moment for Shara Bullet that there have been big holes in his game for a long time as a striker, not even just as an MMA fighter, but you do need to have a game that his whole game can't be relying on, or can't be based around letting other people back you up and then fighting with your back off the cage and heavy kicks. You got to be able to go forward too. You got to have some kind of offense where you can be on the front foot. And he found it in round 3. I thought he won that round. At the very least, it was a very, very close round.
I gave it to Shara Bullet for sure.
Yeah. But
how about MVP saying, "I'm the captain now"?
Yeah, that
was rich.
Quality.
That was
MVP's
rich.
He's always fun. I'll give him that. He always knows exactly what to say.
But yeah, like I was saying about Izzy, Shara Bullet versus Izzy, I think that's a fantastic matchup. Or Magomedov and Kevin Holland.
Sure, yeah. You could do Magomedov Holland. Or you could do Magomedov Costa.
I can't trust Costa to show
Nobody
up.
Can trust Costa.
As much as I want it. I love watching him fight.
Yeah. Just whatever you do, not Magomedov Dolidze. Or Magomedov. Don't do Magomedov Dolidze. Don't do Magomedov Vettori. You could do Magomedov.
Paul Craig.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
There's two true outcomes for you.
Yeah. All right. For Paige though, if he is going down to welterweight,
Vicente Luque, maybe. Carlos Prates.
I would watch the hell out of him versus Carlos Prates. That'd be fun as hell.
Yeah, anyone that can figure out MVP, I mean, that is not an easy thing to do. So it's an interesting test for Prates.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd also say Buckley would be fun, just because I think Buckley would want to take that fight.
No, I like that too. That's fun. I don't know if Buckley would though, because Buckley's so high up now.
I think he would. I think he would be 100% down for that fight. Honestly, he might not. There might not be many other fights like it that he would take, but I think he would take that one.
No, I'm here for it. That'd be good.
If he stays at middleweight, MVP. Let's see. What do you do with him?
He really wasn't sounding like he wanted to.
No, he's not interested.
Maybe eventually.
We got somebody suggesting RoboCop in here.
Isn't he booked?
He is against Jared Cannonier, actually. So you could do the winner of Cannonier versus RoboCop.
Yeah.
I'd watch that either way. I'd watch Cannonier versus MVP, honestly.
I think there's just more exciting fights at 170 for MVP.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I still think you could do MVP, Izzy, but
sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's there's not a lot of you could do like him versus Pereira. But Pereira's coming off a loss.
That's probably so is Izzy. But that's probably the most fun would be Michel in MVP at 185.
Yeah. But really, that to me also just seems like you should be targeting, like, really right now with MVP where he is in his career and coming off a couple of wins, or a win like this, like, just find the most high profile fun fight you can convince somebody to take with him.
Right.
Right. It doesn't need to be like a super sensible rankings matchup. If you can convince somebody like Adesanya or Whitaker or, down at welterweight, somebody like Buckley or
Kamaru Usman.
Yeah. If you can convince them to take fights with MVP, make those fights. All right. That brings us to a heavyweight fight. Sergey Pavlovich, Jairzinho Rosenstruik.
Man, this is like one of the biggest problems when you have two guys who are super familiar with one another that have trained together. You get stale-ass fights.
Is this another... Is Pavlovich training with more of his training partners again?
You mean fighting them?
Fighting more of his training partners again? Because he just fought Volkov, and he and Volkov were training partners.
Nah, him and Jairzinho were teammates for a couple years.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, so definitely history there. And it was... Yeah. Man, what a dud. Of all the fights that could have been fun that weren't, this is it.
Yeah, I will say this is probably the best I could have hoped for out of Pavlovich in a fight where he didn't get an instant KO.
Right.
Because he didn't look gun shy and he didn't look like he was just lost out there. It's just he also very clearly figured out that he could take advantage of Rosenstruik's lack of wrestling and did.
Which I think he got from training with him for so long.
I'm sure.
So he knew he just had to get on top. And he capitalized on it. But, I mean, the crowd was booing. The referee was clapping. Hey, let's go, guys. Like, y'all are heavyweights. Why the fuck is this going 15 minutes?
And why doesn't Pavlovich have even a top game? Like,
I think he just spends all his time boxing.
Probably.
Why doesn't Rosenstruik have any game?
Well, he was never going to. Rosenstruik, the moment he came into the UFC as like a kickboxing guy who stands really flat-footed, it's just like, he's It's never going to be anybody's wrestler or grappler. That's never going to be it. But Pavlovich came in with this whole Greco background and heavy hands. All this. It's like, why do you not know it like any ground and pound at all?
But that's the thing. It's like, you always hear people say that wrestling is the best
Yeah.
base for MMA. But honestly, like there's different types of wrestling.
Yeah, I know.
And Greco is probably the least transferable in modern MMA. It used to work, right? Where you can wall install guys and you can get your takedowns from the clinch. But it is so difficult to fight from the clinch and actually get your takedowns there. Like that's your whole game is just underhooks. Everyone knows how to fight underhooks.
Here, though. He's just where's your ground and pound? Body head, Sergey. Body head. Come on.
I mean, he was throwing some pitter patter enough to stay busy and enough to not get stood up.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, but what a shit fight.
Not a good fight. Is there a heavyweight fight that makes sense for him up the top? I mean, sooner or later, Cyril Gahn has to fight somebody. It's going to be Pavlovich.
Someone called him. Was it Jailton Almeida that called him?
Jailton Almeida, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that beef's about.
I would also be happy to see Jailton fight Sergey. To fight Pavlovich, honestly.
I'm afraid that'll be ultra boring also.
Well, yeah, but I'm afraid Cyril Gahn versus either of them will be ultra boring too. Like they're heavyweights. Yeah. If it's not Tom Aspinall in there, my hopes for thrills are not high.
Tai Tuivasa's fun. But no, you're right.
He's only fun.
Right.
He can't win a fight.
True.
At the top.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did make Cyril Gahn fun.
Assuming Cyril Gahn is just going to sit and wait for a title shot because we don't know if the UFC can't make Jones Aspinall, then Gahn is fighting somebody. That's pretty much.
Or they strip John and do Aspinall.
Well, yeah, they do Aspinall and Gahn. That's what I'm saying is if the UFC is not making Jones Aspinall, then Gahn is going to fight Aspinall or Jones. Like, again, that's. So, if Gahn's just going to sit and wait, then do Pavlovich Almeida. It's not a good fight for Sergey, but you know what? Screw it. I don't care. Not off this.
Yeah, you're right. I don't care who he fights.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be as excited for it as I came in with my hopes high a little bit for this, and I really feel let down. So
no, I know what you mean. I really did hope Pavlovich would just go out and bulldoze him.
Yeah, but he didn't.
No. All right. Otherwise, Vinicius Oliveira, Said Nurmagomedov, and
I fucking knew it. I picked Oliveira here.
I picked Nurmagomedov, and when making the pick, I was like, he should be technical enough to win this fight, but Oliveira has all of the right physical tools and attitude to beat Nurmagomedov.
Yeah,
because
Nurmagomedov size.
He hates pressure, and he gets worn out. Like Jonathan Martinez wore him out. He can get bullied, and Oliveira is a dude. He is clearly a top 5 athlete. Like,
yeah.
He might be the least technical fighter that could be a top 10 guy right now in the division. But, man, he can scramble for 15 minutes. He had broken ribs.
Yeah.
And he did not gas. Like, for as much power as he puts into everything, for him to not gas, like, that dude's to be big for the division and not gas, like, that's crazy.
No, he's got some Duplessis in him. Like, his ability to thrive in the chaos is second to none. Like, and that's what he needed to do here. He needed to initiate the chaos, get his grappling going, gas out Nurmagomedov, and then work in the later rounds being the fresher guy.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what he did. Like
it's crazy because like technically he is a mess. He just walks onto everything with his hands down. Like his whole
how many
offensive game is just basically to walk towards people and say bet.
how
Like, come
many
on, bet.
head kicks did he eat?
Seriously.
He ate so many. Dude, he ate a spinning back kick to the face.
Yeah.
And just ate it. Just got back up.
And he's been knocked out cold doing that twice before. He's been stopped. It's not like it works 100% of the time for him. But he's clearly just a beast. And he's going to be a thrill in that division,
No, he's a ton of fun. I mean, just the way he nuked Sopai. Was that Sopai?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. I mean, he's special. He is a special talent. And I mean, he kind of reminds me of Pratas in a way, like an out of control Pratas.
Yeah.
Just the way he can just keep the fight in front of him despite the chaos, like it's really impressive. Like I feel like that's something you can't really teach. Like that's an ingrained style you just have. Like that is just your preferred method of fighting.
Well, I know exactly what fight I want him to have next.
What's that?
Marcus McGee.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just two physical forces. Because McGee is so crafty with his pressure, and Vinicius is so craftless with it, but they're going to collide, and Vinicius goes out there. I mean, like, he does not slow down. So,
yeah, and I think McGee slowed down a little bit in his last fight.
Yeah.
He ate a lot of leg kicks.
He did. He struggled, so I'm willing to see him take that.
Is McGee ranked?
Yeah. McGee he's ranked 14.
Perfect.
And somebody else suggesting that he fight Chris Gutierrez, and I don't want it. I do not need to see Oliveira fighting a guy like Chris Gutierrez right now. So
no.
McGee's ranked 14. He didn't look great last time. Do McGee. That's the fight.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah. So great win, great performance from Vinicius Oliveira. He's turning me into a believer. For a guy like I watched him on the regionals coming in, I'm like, he walks at people with his hands down. This is not going to work. He's been knocked out twice doing it. It's just not going to work. And it's fucking working.
No, it's great. I love guys that can manage the chaos.
Yeah.
Like that's their preferred spot to be.
All right. That brings us to a lightweight bout, fight of the night, I would hope.
My fight of the night for sure.
Faris Zeom, Mike Davis. Man, Zeom, he's getting good. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I was really torn on this. I ended up picking Davis, but I love the Muay Thai of Zeom. It is nasty.
And
his knees, his
really
elbows.
Good wrestler too.
Yeah, he can scramble and do all that, but for me, it's his Muay Thai.
Mm-hmm.
His ability to deliver the elbows and deliver the knees in spaces that don't usually look open. He finds the opening or creates the opening, and it's some of the best Muay Thai in the UFC, in my personal opinion. Not the top, but it's up there.
It's great. I mean, the thing that with Zeom that had me picking him over Davis is really just that Davis is such an awesome physical force that, like, even in a fight where he was getting mostly dominated, he suddenly showed up in like round 3 and was just like, or he just like showed up with like that belly to back suplex in there.
Oh, to the back take.
Yeah. And like he can just pull something out of his hat. He doesn't seem like he seems kind of unmotivated. He seems kind of
he doesn't like fighting.
He doesn't like fighting. We know that. He's definitely a fighter that's stagnated technically over the years.
I think his
But
grappling has really gone through the roof, though. The shit he was doing,
yeah,
like he had a calf
he
slicer
has become a better
and
grappler.
kept it to like get on
Yeah,
top with it. And I don't know how Zeom didn't break his kneecap. Like
yeah,
that was some wicked grappling he was doing.
it was. But the thing to me that had me picking Zeom is really that as somebody who likes fighting, Zeom has been growing in leaps and bounds for the last couple of years, where it's just clear like his game is clicking. He's got things, his wrestling is flowing into his striking better. His striking looks sharper and more dangerous. Davis is a dude who, the moment he stepped in the octagon, he's been able to nuke people with like a clean one shot. And yet he rarely gets KOs because he'll just kind of he'll do it and then he'll be like, I want to try something else. I want to do something else. His game has not really progressed at all because it just really lacks focus. His grappling game has gotten better, but his MMA game has not.
Yeah, so the fight started, and as soon as I saw Davis pulling guard, I was like, "Oh, I fucked up, made the wrong pick."
And that was the other thing that really had me picking against Davis is that if you watch, and he's done this in several fights, but if you watched in his Levy fight, he nukes Nathan Levy with the first shot he throws, and then you like fast forward 3 minutes into that fight, and he's dropping for a leg lock. It's like, man, how did you get here?
Right.
You could get this, and it would still have been a stupid path. You had Levy on skates with the first punch, and now you're under him rolling for a leg. No,
I think that goes back to him not liking fighting.
I think it does. Yeah.
And I don't think although he's great at those exchanges and letting his hands go.
Yeah.
I don't think he likes the firefights.
No.
He just doesn't want to be there.
And he wants to do creative stuff. He seems like he likes grappling a lot more than fighting, which is probably why his grappling game is getting better and why he's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to try some like funky grappling move here and see if I can pull it off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, okay, great, but you're not actually winning the fight.
And that's another thing. He was doing a lot of things that would get a lot of guys in training, but like in an actual fight, people aren't tapping into that shit.
No. So, yeah, great. Zeom looks great. He looks like he could be on his way to being a top 15 lightweight, honestly. Mm-hmm. And for Davis, I mean, it's just, he's always going to be dangerous. He should be a fight nobody really wants to take. Zeom beat his ass for like 13 minutes, and Davis ended up on top, landing elbows and like busting him open.
I think it was competitive throughout. Davis had moments there in the first.
He had moments, but it was a really good fight from Zeom.
It was for sure, but it wasn't. He had to earn it.
He had to earn it. It's just Davis is one of those fighters that like the moment he decides that he wants to beat you, he can just be like, oh, I'm just picking you up and I'm throwing you around. And it's like, yeah, why aren't you doing that all the time, man?
Yeah.
Instead of out here looking like Benil Dariush, what's that all about? Come on, man. Anyway. But great win for Zeom. Let's see, is there a bottom top 15 lightweight he could fight? Well, Grant Dawson's ranked.
Oof, I don't want to see that shit.
Jalen Turner. There we go.
There, yeah. Ooh.
Ferris Zeom, Jalen Turner.
I like that.
I'd watch that fight.
That's attractive.
Yeah.
I like Zeom, man. I like watching him fight. He's a ton of fun, and his clinch is just brutal.
And if he can't get a ranked fight, then could do him against like Thiago Moises. Just came off
he just lost, didn't he?
No, he just beat Trey Ogden. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that could be a thing.
That'd just be, something to keep him climbing the ranks, if he can't get a top ranked fighter, somebody like that. But yeah. All right, that brings us to a featherweight bout: Muhammad Naimov, Khan Offley, and yeah, just kind of a sticky mirror match between two short, hairy guys.
is Offley hairy?
I don't know. He seems like the type. Maybe he shaves, but like, they're both like these boxy little weird looking hill people.
I guess. I feel like Offley was awfully gun shy about letting his hands go until like the very end.
Yeah.
He's like someone who has all the talent but doesn't have that killer instinct or maybe confidence to just romp on the throttle and go after someone.
Yeah.
Because he could have won this fight, in my opinion. He had moments. He even rocked Naimov in the second round. Like he when he lets his hands go, he's dangerous. But I think he struggles somewhere of putting it all together. And I don't know if it's confidence. I'm not sure what it is. I think he has a new camp now. I think he's with City Kickboxing. I saw him doing the hip feint that they all do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He just won't step on the gas for some reason.
Yeah. Naimov is, he's usually fun, at least. He was the fun part of this. Hopefully was the one kind of really looking to clinch it up and drag it into slow territory.
Yeah, Naimov's a wild man.
Yep. Solid win for him. I don't know. Just he can keep kicking around the middle of the featherweight division as far as I'm concerned. Is there I can't think of a really obvious fight he needs to take. Somebody like I don't know, Pat Sabatini or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're really reaching. You're grasping at straws.
I am. How about Sadiq Yusuf? That'd be fun.
There you go. Someone who was ranked at one point.
Yeah.
Is he still ranked?
No. Can't be.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, that's a good matchup.
Yeah. Something like that. Joe Anderson Brito. Get really mean about it. All right. Heavyweight bout: Shamil Gaziev, Thomas Peterson, and
man, I was so entertained for this. Gaziev comes out and he's just like smiling the whole time. I don't even know if he had a mouthpiece in, but he's just like out there plodding forward, smiling, throwing solo crosses, like knowing like I'm knocking this guy out. He has zero chance.
The very Jamal Hill performance from Shamil Gaziev. Doing that thing where every time he throws a straight, he brings his feet together and puts his chin way up, but it's coming with such speed and power behind it that, like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think Offley needs to get a little bit of his confidence. Because he was... It's really bad when your opponent is sitting there smiling, walking you down. Like, that's scary. That's a scary proposition.
I mean, if Gaziev... Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying Peterson almost had a takedown there. He kind of had a takedown, but I mean, it lasted maybe 2 seconds, and then it proceeded to be one-way traffic.
Yeah, I mean, Gaziev is one of those guys where I think if he had been able to start MMA earlier in his life, he probably would have been a pretty damn good fighter. Maybe he'll still be fun. Heavyweight is, eternal. So there's not to say that he can't just work for another 5 years and be a top 5 heavyweight at age 40. It's just that he only turned pro in 2020, late 2020, and he's 34. So, like, he does not have a very complete game, but he's clearly a very fast dude for somebody his size.
And someone who seems to enjoy fighting.
Yeah. When he's in control. The moment he realized he couldn't find a way around Jairzinho Rosenstruik, he just kind of quit out of that fight. But when he's in control, yeah, he's having fun. So,
This fight could have sucked.
It could have. I'm very grateful for the stop, honestly.
Yeah, this could have definitely went south for us.
And see, is there a heavyweight that I care about for him to fight? Anybody coming off a win?
Nah, fuck that. Anyone
No.
coming off the Contender Series.
There we go.
That's what I want to see. Keep feeding him these low-level guys.
Yeah. I don't see anything really on here, so whatever, really, for that. Just
just whatever low-level guy is available.
Low-level guy only. All right. That brings us to a lightweight bout. Terrence McKinney, Damir Hadzovic. I will admit, this probably was a slightly more controlled Terrence McKinney. He did look a little less wild. It concerns me that he's learning life lessons and being taken over under somebody's wing and sort of figuring out how to control himself at age 30 with 30 pro fights under his belt, but he is that kind of guy. Like,
I will say he had some really high, really wise shot selection with his ground and pound. I feel like that referee was trying to get him for hitting in the back of the head, and he was really smart about staying within himself and not just blitzing the guy. But no, this was a smart fight for him, all things considered. I know you don't want to watch him.
New.
What's that?
It doesn't tell us anything new. It's still round one. Terrence McKinney wins. Had he gotten to a round two, would he have won? I don't know. Never happens.
So, are you still taking the stance that you don't want to watch him fight anymore?
That
was your take in his last fight. You're like, I don't want to see him fight anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the way he gets knocked out is just brutal enough that like it's not entertaining.
I think it's entertaining.
Yeah.
The glass cannon is always. I'm always going to be a fan of a glass cannon. It's not like he just goes out and he's just getting skunked every single time. It's like he gets skunked.
He's the fastest lightweight on the entire roster.
But I'm fine if he gets knocked out every other fight and knocks someone out every other fight in the first round. Like
that is all he does. So
I am here for it. That's fun. It
is fun. I just every time he gets knocked out, I'm going to be like, I don't need this. Like you are going so cold, and it's not like, it's not like the way Damir Hadzovic got knocked out in this fight. That's like, okay, yeah, you got put in a bad position, you got beat up, you lost, whatever. The way Terrence McKinney gets knocked out, it's like somebody has to carry his lifeless body out of the cage, and then they're doing CPR on him for a half hour afterward,
So you know how I was saying Vinicius Oliveira, he thrives in the chaos, and that's like where he prefers to be. Hadzovic, no. This fight happened way too fast for him. Way too fast. He didn't have a single moment where he was able to breathe or think or anything. All he was doing was surviving the entire time. Time.
I picked against Hadzovic. He's a fighter who, even at his best, he almost always has a miserable first round and has to like claw his way back into a fight. For like his best wins, they're often him getting owned and then just really scrapping his way back into the fight. So it's like, I'm not going to pick that against Terrence McKinney. Just not.
No, I mean, my favorite Hadzovic moment is when he got insta-sub by Moicano, and then Moicano was like, I wanted to fight longer. And he was like, well, you shouldn't have submitted me.
Yeah,
like, that's classic meathead right there. So you did pick McKinney here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
And I like his call out of Chris Duncan afterward.
That's a fun, someone's going to sleep.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to a women's flyweight fight. Jasmine Jasudavicius, Mayra Bueno Silva, and man, the vibes were bad going in. I looked at this, I was like, Mayra Bueno Silva's dropping back down to flyweight? Like, she fought for the title 2 days ago at bantamweight. I know she lost her last fight, but literally win one fight and you're going to be a contender again in the bantamweight division. That division's terrible. What are you doing going back down? That's a terrible idea.
It's hard to watch her fight, man. She
She's
fights like she doesn't have a thread of explosive, fast twitch muscle in her entire body. She's like, it's almost like she's underwater fighting someone who's not.
Yeah.
It's such
like she needs a sports therapist is how she fights right now.
I think she might need a new job.
Yeah.
I don't think just the difference in demeanors. Jazdavicius is bouncy, light on her feet, looking athletic. Bueno Silva, she just looked like a random person. Like she was literally just walking forward with her hands out trying to grab. Not fun to watch.
No, it was a terrible fight from her. Great fight from Jasudavicius, though.
She's on a tear.
She is. She is a dark horse contender all of a sudden. Not something I thought I would ever say about Jasmine Jasudavicius, really. But
she's a winner. She finds ways to win.
Mm-hmm. And she knows exactly what kind of fight she wants to have every time out. And it's a huge leg up.
Yeah, I really started paying attention after her last fight with Lipsky, where she was getting just tagged on the feet and then found a way to get the fight down. Ended up getting the finish. But yeah, she was 12 coming in.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many fighters ahead of her that are coming off of losses. She should really be able to pick any one of them to fight. Amanda Hebush. She could fight Vivi Araujo. Araujo's coming off a win. Fight Chukagian. You know, like
Sermonara.
Yeah, Sermonara. But probably not higher than that. Probably not Namajunas or Andrade.
No, those might be a little bit big.
But anyone else in the edges of the top 10. She's already lost to Tracy Cortez, obviously, so I know that Cortez would want to take that fight again, but the rest of it makes sense.
Yeah, anyone. I want to see her keep winning.
Yeah.
I would love for her to get to the title. I think that'd be awesome because she's so unlikely to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's her biggest skill set? Maybe
top
her
control, ground and pound. It's not her wrestling. It's not her striking. It's the ground and pound she puts on people when she's on top. That is something she's really, honestly, uniquely good at. And it's a great skill, but it is like you have to go through a bunch of other hard shit to get there.
But she feels like a try-hard.
Yeah.
Overachiever. And like
she knows everything in her game is built to get her to the place where she will beat you. You know, her striking is wooden and robotic, but she will stay moving forward on the front foot all the time and get to the clinch. And then she'll fight in the clinch really hard to get you down and get on top of you. And she's gotten better at shot takedowns. And then when she's on top of you, she'll just beat the piss out of you. You know?
Yeah. I'm rooting for her.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fan, Zane.
You should be.
I'm a fan.
Definitely. And she's 35. So it's all like, this is the time. Yeah.
Holy shit. I didn't know that. I thought she was a lot younger.
Nope.
Well, now I'm rooting for her even more. Exactly. She's one of the old guys.
She's an old guy. It's a now or never kind of situation for her. All right. That brings us to a catchweight bout. Bogdan Grad, Lucas Alexander, and
I was wrong.
Yeah, you thought
I was fucking wrong. I thought Grad was going to get tuned up on the feet.
Well, he did for a minute,
but like throughout,
yeah,
the whole time, maybe even finished, because he can be super sloppy and just a sit and duck sometimes. Where like it's like he forgets he's in the middle of a fight.
he's a lot like Vinicius Oliveira, except if Vinicius Oliveira wasn't a great athlete, where it's all about pressure and pace and staying on somebody. Like the big thing that Grad has going in his favor is cardio.
Yeah.
He is a fighter who
He's tireless.
He is tireless. He is going to keep on you. He is going to stay in your face, and he's not going to slow down. So Alexander was out there tuning him up, no problem. But Grad is the one pushing the pace. He's the one fighting at his pace, and Alexander couldn't maintain that.
No, I think Alexander gassed out, maybe from the weight cut and the botched, missing weight and all that, but also just how active he was when he got taken down.
Yeah.
Like he was working so hard to stay active to get back to his feet that once he finally got mounted, I mean, he like petered out trying to improve upon that position.
He's a slow-paced sniper too, so he's definitely a fighter who is already used to trying to conserve his energy and not fight at a high pace. So, I think especially likely with a fighter like Grad to just get broken by.
Yeah, and how quickly he got broken.
Yeah,
that was quick.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, neither of these guys are actually good featherweights at all. And as somebody else is noting, Alexander might not even be a featherweight, might be a lightweight, but being a slow-paced back foot sniper or an incredibly sloppy face-first pressure fighter, these are both bound to fail systems. This was just, you put them together.
It was entertaining, though.
Yeah. Grad is always going to be fun in any fight because he fights with his face.
Yeah, he's like Darren Elkins a little bit. He's got some Elkins in him.
So, yeah, fine fight, but nothing special. And then before that, if this fight were better, I might call it a robbery, but it sucked, and I don't care. Hamdi Abdelwahab beating Jamal Pogues. I thought Pogues won 2 rounds reasonably, not clearly, reasonably. And Hamdi Abdelwahab won 1 round reasonably, but not clearly. So you want to split that anyway. I'm not gonna.
So I agree. I think Pogues got 2 rounds, 2-1.
Yeah,
but they were so close. The rounds were so close, like the first and second.
Yeah,
that I can see how someone else can make an argument the other way. But like the fight as a whole, it definitely felt like Pogues won.
Oh yeah. Pogues overall. There's a better argument for 30-27 Pogues than there is 29-28 Abdelwahab. Yeah. But I can see both scores.
Yeah. But it did have an undertone of a robbery. But the fight was so shitty.
Yeah, who cares?
This Abdelwahab guy, man. I'm going to have to quote GSP. I am not impressed by his performance. This guy, he's a dud. He's been dudding it up, man. I hate to say it, but he has been underwhelming, unimpressive. The lack of aggressiveness here was just, I didn't understand. Like, why? Like, you're clearly a specimen. You're a hoss. Go be a hoss. Romp on the throttle.
Doesn't have the drugs anymore. I mean, the first thing he did is come in and fail a drug test.
Zane. You find the drugs, use the drugs.
Yeah, it's not like the UFC. The UFC's they're doing the hand wave tests now. Like,
it's strictly honor system.
Yeah, so.
Like it's 2025. USADA's gone.
Yeah,
step on the fucking gas.
But no, the first thing he did in the UFC was fail a drug test. He's a late convert. He doesn't know how to fight past 3 minutes, and the fact that Pogues only knows low power jabbing is just like, okay, it's heavyweight. Everybody can bomb. If you're going to be only like out there pitter pattering on your back foot, I'm not going to cry if you lose,
Pogues could have done so much more in this fight.
Yeah.
He's got no one to blame but himself. I can see why he would feel cheated because, like I said, it feels overall like he won. But when you break it down round by round, I mean, you really have to be paying attention and counting strikes.
Yeah, why aren't you just, this guy can't keep your pace. Why aren't you just like, why aren't you on the gas? Why aren't you out there taking a really hard fight to Abdel Wahab? So he didn't. Who cares? Whatever.
Shit fight.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we're not going to do any bonus this week. I'm too tired. But do you have an overall score for the card, or?
Yeah. So I guess all things considered, I'll go with a 3, middle of the road. There were some cool moments. It was early for me, but not too early like it was for you. My underdog picks on the main card pulled it out, which always makes me feel extra happy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's okay. I'll probably forget about it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 too. I'm more likely to enjoy it because I like early morning MMA, but I'm also just dead tired. And the Imavov Adesanya knockout, while a nice, pop of action to end the card, comes on the heels of a whole bunch of decisions and grinding. Even the fights that weren't decisions before that felt like grinds. So it's not like it didn't rescue.
Imavov Adesanya is really the only big takeaway. Everything else, forgettable.
All right. On that point, thanks everyone for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at Zane Simon, and on Blue Sky at Zane Simon, and on Substack at Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado,
and Blue Sky at
the Eddie Mercado.
They sucked me in.
You didn't want to claim just regular Eddie Mercado?
I didn't even think of all my platforms are the same.
Okay.
So just the Eddie Mercado, you can find me.
Zane, everything for me would be Zane Simon, but some other Zane Simon got to Zane Simon at Twitter before I did. So.
You're going to have to fight him to the death.
I will. All right. On that note, folks, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.